like I said, man, I found the Lord. I was praying with all my heart, and that just opened up my eyes and built my relationship with Him. And like I'm a firm believer now that like, man, people, hard times come for everybody. They're gonna hit you.
I'll go to rehab. I'll go to rehab. But I went to rehab for all the wrong reasons, right? I went there just playing the part and, just doing whatever I had to do to get by and stay in the place. And then I ended up relapsing. I drank like a fifth of whatever the fuck it was. I ended up destroying the whole entire sober living, ripping the steel bunk beds apart. Everybody in the house was downstairs, locked in the house manager's room, praying in like 1 o'clock in the morning.
I wake with a war in the walls of my skull and the enemy already know my location. Mirror got fingerprints all on the glass from the nights I was fighting my own hesitation. Old me whispering, sleep you deserve it. New me loading discipline into the chain, but one won't comfort, the other won't conquest. They both got my face, but they ain't the same player.
Hey, what up, guys? This is David Ariola. This is the M8 podcast. This is our first episode that we're gonna run. So the good news is tomorrow is our grand opening for our store, M8 Nutrition and Supplements. And part of what we're doing here in Arizona is we want to bring real life into the community. We want to build the community. And the cool part about what I do is I meet some of the best people all around the world. So today we have a couple of special guests that flew out here from California, Northern Cali. Dane Carter Fit and Grime Time Fit. So Dane Carter and Mike Valenzuela, they've been killing it on the internet with their motivation. They're online coaches and they've inspired me for a long time now. So to have them out here, I'm blessed. So Dane, Mike, welcome to Arizona.
Oh yeah.
So the time that you've been out here so far, it's been a couple of hours. What do you think about Arizona so far?
I mean, Arizona's cool, but the welcoming here at M8 Nutrition, your family's here. I can't do nothing but respect it, right? I'm all about somebody building something from nothing and having family to support and a good energy, right? Like a lot of times you go to places, the energy's off, right? Like everything is just spot on. Like I couldn't ask for more, man. It's very welcoming and we appreciate that.
Right on. How about those mariscos, though?
Fire, bro.
Yeah.
Fire. But yeah, I've been coming to Arizona since I was a little kid. My grandpa had farms out here, so I'm used to the heat. It's been a while, but it was dope stepping out of the airport and getting that, like I opened up the oven type feel,
Yeah.
But man, there was some monsoons, there was some delays in the flight, but you can't stop what's meant to be, you know what I mean? We're here. I like the vibes. I like the energy of the new spot, bro. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a dope little environment you got going on here.
This will be a first of many.
Oh yeah,
100%.
I can see it.
Yeah. We have big vision, right? And at the end of the day, we want to impact the community. As you guys know, with what you're doing, there's a lot of people need that positive energy and to change into a positive mindset, right? There's just so many people that live in this world that they're stuck, right? They live life on repeat and they don't know how to break through. So it's up to people like us to step up, to show them how to do that, because I know you guys just as me, we've had to do that. We've had to break through whatever vices that we had to get to where we're at. So I'm just curious, I don't really know your story. I'm not really familiar. So how did you get to where you're at today?
So I'll go first. So pretty much, as far as like me, I'm 40 years old, grew up in Northern California, grew up in a pretty decent household. You know what I mean? Like my mom was always a good, hardworking mom. Dad had his struggles, you know what I mean, with addictions and alcoholism that ultimately, caused him to like lose his family, right? And that was when like in my teenage years. So I ended up just veering down, like most kids when the homes get broken up, just veered off down the wrong path, you know what I mean? Running the streets, drugs, we all know where that leads, right? So I ended up in jails, in prisons, and ultimately just living a real self-destructive life, you know what I mean? And all that in my mid-20s, similar to like you were telling me earlier, so that's why I felt like we kind of connected. I had that little wake-up call. My last prison term, I was like, I need to kind of switch it up, right? Met my wife, moved out of the area, bought a house. I got a good job, and I always tell people, like, man, I might have, from the outside looking in, it was cool, right? Like, this guy has it going on. From the family, oh, he has a good job, but inside, I was still, I wasn't shackled by chains or behind prison walls, but I had a lot of bad habits, man. Alcohol, just no purpose, no sense of direction, you know what I mean? And pretty much was living that way for a long time, right? Always been into working out, though. Fitness was always an outlet for me. And, but not taking it serious like I do today, obviously, right? I was like a weekend warrior where I'd party hard and try to play catch up during the week, you know what I mean? And anyways, a couple years ago, 2024 was kind of the year where I say it was a pivotal moment of my life, which was just a little over 2 years ago. When Serena, my wife, got sick with cancer, I had a little baby. We had just had newborn twins, and that was like, man, I need to really, really do something, right? To be there for her, to be there for my kids. And so ultimately what I did was I cut out the alcohol. I really, really locked in on my fitness, you know what I mean? Pretty much found the Lord, got close with the Lord, and just was really like praying for that. Let me become the man I need to be for her and for my family. And make a long story short, that year was brutal, right? She had to do the chemo, the radiation, all that. It was a brutal year, but it was a year that really opened my eyes and changed me. And so she beat that, got through the chemo, the cancer, all that, right? So the end of 2024, beginning of 2025 was like, okay, we got through that. Fitness has been good to me. It helped me kind of found my purpose, you know what I mean? So that's when I hit up Dane. I'm like, hey, I'm ready to take this fitness to the next level. And I knew I had like a seed planted where I wanted to be a coach, but obviously you can't be coach. You can't become a coach if you ain't been coached yourself, right? You see a lot of guys online, right, where they try to, oh, I'm a coach, but it's like, bro, if you had a coach, you know, you want me to give you my money, but you ain't even investing no money yourself. Yep. But anyway, so I linked up with Dane and I hit the ground running, bro. I was like, I hit him up. I'm like, I'm gonna get to single-digit body fat. Like, I want to get shredded. I want to get abs, you know. So we locked in, just really super dialed in, bro. No missing, no cheat meals. I cut out alcohol like completely. I've been sober since right before I signed on with you, since December of 2024, and just really, really locked in. And did a shred, did a lean bulk, and after that, that's when I was like, I might be ready to do this coaching thing, right? I already had a bunch of guys in my little community that I worked out with, and had some already transformations by giving them the macros and giving them the knowledge that I've acquired, right? So I told him, I'm like, I might be ready, bro. And he's like, well, do it, you know? And I'm like, I had a side business going on. I was doing like some tree work and stuff. And I was like, nah, I can't right now, bro. It's like, it's too much. And he pretty much was like, nah, bro, like, it's now or never. Like, you're never gonna, what'd you tell me?
You're gonna do it now or you're never gonna do it?
Yeah, like, so I said, you know what, screw it. Let's go for it. And shit, that was a little over a year ago, bro. And just, and then you also said you're gonna have a fucking army, you know? And I'm like, yeah, all right, right? Because you see all these coaches, it ain't really easy, bro. It's not. You know, you got to put in the work. You got to have a passion for it. You got to have, be willing to do like what we're doing today, right? We're willing to take. A lot of people talk about it, but they ain't willing to take that action. Yep. Hop on that plane to go, meet new people. If they're not willing. They're like, they pray for all these opportunities, but when the opportunities are right in their face, it's like doors will open, but come on, you got to get up and walk through that door. Yep. So just like this, man, this is an opportunity. That's why we jumped on it, and here we are today. But long story short, bro, over a year I've been doing it, and got an army, bro. It's numerous transformations. A lot of lives have been impacted, and it's just we're barely getting warmed up. It's still kind of hard to believe. If you had asked me a year ago, where would Grind Time Fit be? It's like I wouldn't have pictured. I'm hopping on plane rides, going to open up and support these supplement companies and brands like Condemned Labs. So it's been a really amazing journey, bro.
That's cool, man. And it's like, it's just the beginning. Yeah. Like you said, right? You just started, you're barely getting your feet wet in this. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine where you'd be if you keep that consistency going, where you'll be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now?
Yeah,
It's
sky's the
amazing.
limit.
Yeah, bro.
It really is.
And now, as far as you two, obviously you were his coach, right? Are you guys doing a lot of collaborations? Like, what do you guys have going on right now? I know there's something going on next weekend in Vegas that I was invited to. How did that come together?
Well, I started doing these little group workouts a long time ago, and before I moved up here, right? And I did like one in Vegas. It was pretty small, just for like guys in the community, and then I did one down in LA, did one in like Thousand Oaks, and then I moved up here. I was like, oh, let's start doing it up here. And next thing you know, we're doing them. We got like 40, 50 guys showing up. And then 4 months ago, right, we were in Vegas. I did my first mastermind. We had 130 people show up to Vegas. 127 of them traveled across state lines. And so this time, like I told, I was like, we're gonna do this again in about 6 months, right? It's been 4 months, and
We said this is what you said. He said we're gonna do this again in 6 months, and it's gonna be double.
Yeah.
We're about damn near getting to do triple, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be about triple, and we're like, all right, well, let's bring Condemn Labs in on this, right? And see if they want to do it with us, and so we did, and that's gonna be next week.
That's cool. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to go over there and see what you guys do, right? Be in your prime. Now, one thing that you mentioned, bro, about your wife, and I'm glad that she was able to pull through, but you said that was one of the hardest years of your life, right? But isn't it crazy how God works? In those toughest moments, we really see who we are, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, when we feel the weakest, when we put him first, he gives us what we need, right? And there's times I'm sure that you probably felt like, how are we gonna get through this, right? But look at where you're at now. Because you stood 10 toes down, you had that faith, and you were that strength for your wife, it makes you twice the man that you were then.
Absolutely.
Right? And so going through that year with her, what would you say was the biggest key for you to be strong for her?
Well, one was, like I said, man, I found the Lord. I was praying with all my heart, and that just opened up my eyes and built my relationship with him. And like, I'm a firm believer now that, like, man, hard times come for everybody. They're gonna hit you.
Yep.
But I think those are God puts you through those hard times to, like you said, become who you truly need to be. You know what I mean? Not only did it make me a better man, it brought our relationship closer.
Yeah.
It's kind of a trip that right before she found the cancer, we were on the verge of getting a divorce because we were just not really seeing eye to eye, and we were down a bad path.
Yeah.
And
So it saved your marriage.
yeah, bro.
Oh,
It's like ultimately, like it's we don't know why all these things happen, right? And a lot of people question, like, when the hard times come, like, why God, why? Instead of like, okay, what? I gotta embrace it. It's here. We don't fully understand it or can't really grasp it, but all we know is that, hey, this is here. What can I learn from it? How can I build from it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's cool, bro. That's cool, man. Yeah, so Dane,
Yes, sir.
let's hear about you, bro. So how did you get started in coaching? Where are you from? Like, how Dane Carter Fit start?
Man, dude, so I'm from Pismo Beach. Pismo Beach, California, and I grew up, just living a life of destruction, right? I started getting drunk, drinking, and getting high at a really young age. And, I played sports and stuff too. My parents were separated since before I can remember. My dad partied, my dad, was in the mix and everything like that. So I kind of chose that route, right? I didn't have to, like the rest of my family was normies pretty much, right? But I chose that route and started going down a deep fucking slope pretty fast, right? And, I started going to juvenile hall, in and out of juvenile hall, boot camp, so on and so forth. And as I would go, everything in like line with destruction would progress, right? It's kind of like weed being a gateway drug, right? Like, but for me, it was more like, alcohol, weed, crank, and all the party drugs and stuff like that. And I just loved the life, right? Like destruction, and it was weird because there's not too much of it in my area where I'm from, right? But it was fun and I liked it, and that's the reason why I never changed. I think a lot of people make all these excuses as to why they can't change rather than just admit that they love it, right? Because we get high because we love the feeling, right? We drink because we like the effect, right? We go out and party because we like the scene, you know, like we don't, it's a choice, right? Like, yeah, sometimes our addiction might be super bad and have us by the balls, but, you know, we still have a choice, you know, and so I ended up catching my first prison term at 18, home invasion, and I was looking at like 79 years, and I ended up taking 2 strikes and got a pretty decent deal on that, and kept going back, bro. I kept getting out, and I never was like the guy that was lying to himself saying I was gonna change, right? But I would be telling everybody that loved me that I was gonna change, right? And so I just kept digging this hole deeper, you know, and like people that loved me, like my mom, my sister were getting tired of it. I'd always just parole, go to my dad's house, party, right? And I was out for like 4 months. Ended up getting busted, did a 12-month flat violation, and once again, right back into it, right? So I ended up doing like 4 years, man, and, or no, 4 terms, 13 years, and I got out this last time, and I thought that I had it all figured out, right? I had my parole transferred to Colorado. I wasn't gonna drink, I wasn't gonna get high, I wasn't gonna do anything like that, and as soon as I get out, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna drink some champagne, right? Like, I'll be fine, right? And everybody's like, oh, no, I don't think so, you know, I don't think that's a good idea, and I'm like, dude, like, I'm not gonna get high, like, what is the problem? Like, I don't have a problem with drinking, right? But when I would drink, it would be, you know, if we're gonna have champagne, it's gonna be like 5 bottles, right? You know, and I would manage it for a while, man. I would manage it for a while. I was out in Colorado, had a decent job, and you know, I ended up having a kid and started getting high, right? Started getting high, you know, on July 3rd of 2018, I was strung out on heroin in Colorado. And I was like, fuck, dude, you know, I got July 4th off. Like, I'm just gonna take the next day off to kick, right? But I had never been out long enough to develop this bad of a heroin habit, right? The last time I was out for 14 hours between 4-year terms. And so I kicked my boots off, I remember, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go lay down, just leave me alone. Nobody in the house knew what I was doing, right? Before you know it, it's been like 30 days in the hospital a couple times, you know, through this detox. But I was clean when my daughter was born, right? And the day she's born, right, I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, this is, you know, I'm all feeling the rush, you know? And it's crazy because what better way to celebrate than barbecuing, you know, having a couple beers or, you know, some champagne or something. So that's exactly what I did, bro. Right back into it, you know, and it just kept progressing, you know, and, you know, long story short, I ended up back in California, strung the fuck out, strung out bad. You know, I was shooting a lot of dope and really deep into it, you know, and it was crazy when I look back at it now, like, you know, like I was lost, right? Like it was, you know, people get high and then people get too high and then some people never come back from being too high, right? Well, I was the one that was lucky to come back from it, you know, and, you know, I always knew, you know, that my mom always told me, like, if you ever get your shit together, dude, you're going to be able to, all this shit you're fucking going through, you're going to be able to help a lot of people, right? And I never really, like, processed it or even, like, believed her, so to say, but, right? But those exact words, like, stuck in my head for a long time. And one day, you know, I ended up going to rehab, right? The reason why I went to rehab is because I pulled up into my mom's driveway one day to get my fucking laundry because she was doing my laundry, and, you know, I wake up to her banging on the door. It's because, you know, she thought I was dead, right? And I was like, all right, I'll go to rehab. You know, I'll go to rehab. But I went to rehab for all the wrong reasons, right? You know, I went there just playing the part and, you know, just doing whatever I had to do to get by and stay in the place. And then I ended up relapsing. I drank like a fifth of whatever the fuck it was. I ended up destroying the whole entire sober living, ripping the steel bunk beds apart. Everybody in the house was downstairs, locked in the house manager's room, praying in like 1 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of other shit happened, but they ended up kicking me out, and I ended up going through sober living, and this is when like unemployment and the PPP loans were pretty big. And so that didn't work out too well for me either, right? So I ended up, I never did like got into fentanyl or anything yet. Just like, you know, heroin and speed and what was regular to me, right? But, you know, I ended up getting deep into it, bro. I ended up getting really deep into fentanyl and ended up back in my hometown, just on the run, high-speed chases, everything like that. And Bro, I ended up in a motel room. I was doing about 6 to 10 grams of fentanyl a day, banging up probably a quarter ounce of speed to stay alive, right? On the verge of death. And for like the last couple weeks, I had been feeling like, oh, I want out, man. And I'd been in that motel room for 3 weeks. I hadn't left. And about 9 o'clock p.m., a block number calls my phone, and it was a detox center. And I still don't know how they got my number. And they're like, you want to, for some reason I stepped outside to take the call, and they're like, do you want to come change your life, right? And I'm like, well, I don't have insurance. I'm not going to pay for it in cash. They're like, well, if you're here in 24 hours, we'll scholarship your way. So I got there in 24 hours, man. I left everything there. You know, I said my goodbyes, and, you know, it was fucking hell, you know, and I went in there on the 15th, and my sobriety day was the 22nd, so it landed on my sister's birthday because I ended up getting high in detox. So I wasn't quite done, right? But this was 5 years ago, man, right? So I remember leaving there. And they gave me like, you're in recovery or no? Program? No. Well, anyway, so I ended up leaving there. I put myself through like 2 or 3 other rehabs, and then like a year in sober living and stuff. And I ended up, you know, I just got a job, and I was really into the gym, really focusing on my nutrition, really just, you know, focusing on becoming, you know, just a better person all the way around, because I'd been living in destruction for so long. I had to change literally everything about how I lived, everything about it, right? And, you know, I ended up just doing a lot of self-work, and I ended up getting a job. I ended up moving and getting another job they made silicone, right? And like one building on the property was for military fighter jets. And I'd gotten hired through a temp agency because if you got felonies, that's the best way to go, right? And then they wanted to hire me on permanently early, right? Because they obviously liked the way I worked and everything. And then they ran their background check. And then one day, like all 6 of my supervisors came in with like little pieces of paper saying, we got to escort you off the property. Here's our personal information for references. An unpaid ticket is what they found on my record. They didn't find no felonies, nothing, unpaid ticket. And I knew this guy, we had the same first name. His name was Dane, and I met him in a meeting in Orange County when I lived down there, and he was doing online coaching. And I had just moved out of sober living and got my own apartment. You know, I had a little bit of money saved up, and I had $11,000 saved up, right? And I wanted to get in with these guys. I didn't know anything about social media. I didn't even know really how to post on Instagram, right? And I took 10 of it and drove it down and put it in the guy's hand, bro. And I just, you know, I'm gonna make this work. No plan B, right? And you know, and here we are today, right? It's been 3 years, a little over 3 years, and I never would have thought that my life would be where it's at, you know. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about it, right? But it's like, I honestly believe it's like those pivotal moments, right? So if you're gonna change, like you gotta ride the wave, right? Like you gotta double down, ride the wave, and do whatever you have to do. And a lot of shit happened when I was in detox, bro. Like they drove me 6 hours to go pick up my street bike. I totaled that at 75 on the freeway on the way home. Still detoxing. 2 days later, my best friend died. It was crazy, right? My sister wouldn't talk to me for like a year, right? Because she'd been tired of my shit. But none of it mattered, right? Like none of it mattered, you know? And it's kind of like they wanted to take me to the hospital when I wrecked my bike. But I'm like, dude, what is the hospital going to do for me? What are they going to pump me full of shit? You know what I'm saying? And it's like just these choices that you have to make, right? The tough decisions and stuff, you know, like the exact opposite of what you normally would have done, you know? And but yeah, man, here we are, you know, millions of lives inspired, thousands of lives changed. You know, I've personally been able to work with hundreds and hundreds of people through fitness and help about like 90 to 100 people build their business through social media and change lives as well, man. And, you know, I've literally watched families change, and all of it is from me getting my shit together and sharing my story and providing value, and all through social media, right? You know, Mike hit me up that one day. I didn't know what he was gonna do, right? The first day, you know, like once I became cool with him, that's why I told him, I was like, you have to do this. You have to do this, right? But now he's like my best friend, right? Like everybody in my life today, besides my immediate family, is through social media. Everybody. Like I don't fuck with anybody from my past, right? Like, you know, it's crazy, right? It's crazy the power that your past and your struggles and everything that you've overcome has, if you get vocal about it, right? And you figure out a way to put it into use. But yeah, there's, like he was saying, like there's guys online that maybe they do know what they're talking about, right? Maybe they do, but You know that you're not gonna do it on your own. It's not, right? Like, but yeah, I'm just grateful, man. Just grateful to be here. You know, supporting for this grand opening. I was telling your wife, you know, the main reason why I'm here is because I respect the fact that, you know, you started with your truck, right? You got it out of nothing, and you've created this amazing environment, and I can see it on people's faces when they walk out of your store, like that this is a good place, right? Like you do men's Bible studies. I think on Wednesdays that's a huge deal, right? Impacting the community, and I really see this place going big, you know, and if we could do it, anybody could do it,
Absolutely,
right? That's
bro.
the message, the main message, right? Like your past doesn't define you, your next move does, right? And that's why this event that we're having in Las Vegas on July 25th is your past doesn't define you tour, and we're gonna be there, so it's gonna be pretty neat.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing, bro. Like, you guys have powerful testimonies, but you know what's crazy is while you're on this path, you think it's your family, you think it's your close friends that are gonna support you, but it's not. It's everybody else. It's the strangers, you know. And I had a conversation, I think it was a week ago, with somebody that was struggling with starting his own business, but he's so worried about his family and friends not supporting him, right? And I told him, you're thinking with your emotions. Once you tap into your passion and your purpose, and you start serving for the people that you're intended to serve with that purpose, those are the people that are gonna love you. Those are the people that are gonna follow you and do for you. Same for me, right? I got thousands of followers, but the main people that follow me, they're strangers, right? The one that are reposting and stuff like that. And my best friend Carlos, like, I met him serving shakes. He came out and bought a shake, right? And then we had a conversation, and then from then we became best friends, right? So I can relate to that, bro. And what I love about these testimonies is you have been at rock bottom how many times, right? And you would expect we hit this rock bottom, we would get it. We don't get it the first time. No. We do it again and again and again.
You get it when you want to get it.
Exactly. Right. And people don't want to change until they want to change,
it's the same
right?
thing with, like, when you try to tell these guys, like, they know what they need to do, and you're trying to help them with the fitness plan and, you know, get them healthy again. It's like, but they'll find any little excuse of why they can't do it, you know. And it's like, what can we do? It's like, when you're ready, you'll be ready. You know, it ain't the money because you can't afford it. It's just because it's whatever it is, the fear of failing. You know what I mean? Or you've tried it before so many times and failed. You know what I mean? Your word means shit to you. You know, so it's like, why am I gonna spend this money? But
you know, the thing about like social media, right, is the people in your life today are choosing to be in your life. They don't feel like they have to be in your life, right? Because I have a couple people that support me and my family, right? But very few, right? And it's like, and they're gonna watch. I mean, I hope they fucking watch this, right? Like they know who they are, right? It's like they'll be super standoffish, right? But the reason why, it's like Dane's going all in. He's investing all of his money into the social media thing, and now, like, bro, who's making more money here? Like, who got it out of nothing, right? Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, the people that I meet in my life today choose to be in my life today, right? And I choose to be in theirs. And that's a stronger connection, right? You know what I mean? And I got guys, it doesn't matter what I need or what they need, right? Like, we don't even have to go there, and stuff like that. But it's like, you know.
I think when you get, like, so hungry, when you have this passion and you figure out your purpose, like, if you're chasing it and so locked into it, it's gonna get to a point where you don't really care what people think. You know what I mean?
Your
and
content
so that one
isn't
person
even,
is that one person you're saying is like, if he just locks in, and it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean? You're so dialed in on the mission, on your purpose, that everything else is just noise.
Yeah, and it's a flow state, right? And that's why every day you have to show up. You know, I do push-ups every single morning. It's the first thing that I do. 4 o'clock in the morning, every single day. I don't miss, right? And I post it over and over and over again. But that's the flow state that I'm in, because I know when I do that, it's bringing me to a higher vibration, so I can start becoming the man that I know I need to be for that day. So it's not just doing push-ups for nothing. It's for something, because it grounds me as a man that I said I was gonna do this, so I'm gonna fucking do it. Regardless how I feel, if I'm feeling sick, if I don't feel like showing up, I do it for a reason. And it's funny, when I don't post, which is very, very rare, guess what? Someone's hit me up. Where the push-ups at? They're holding me accountable because they were looking forward to that. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you jump into that flow state of becoming the best version of yourself, people see that and people admire that, because I know once I was lost. And so when I see these content creators and motivational speakers online and on YouTube and on Instagram, it inspires the fuck out of me, right? Like on those days I don't want to show up, I'll open it up. I see one of your guys' videos, I'm like, all right, fuck. They showed up.
It's funny you say that because I just did a challenge. I love doing push-ups. He started that thing with me, but I have the whole team. Like, hey, let's do a challenge. You know, every day, first upon within 10 minutes upon wake up, push-ups. And same thing you're saying, bro. It's like when they don't want to do them, they open up the group chat. Bam, you got the guys dropping their push-ups. You got the guys dropping scriptures. It's like everybody's like they're watching, bro. Whether they like it or not, right? They might not like it, they might not comment, but they're watching. You know what I mean? Because I got the same thing. Hey, oh, where you been? You didn't post this morning. It's like, oh, I knew you were watching. You know,
Yeah.
I see it. But it's like those small wins every morning, man. A small daily, they'll compound to have a successful, solid day. You know?
Yeah. And it's not the outcome, right? We know who we want to become, right? And even though we're at a point right now where we are the best version of ourselves, I feel like, I don't know if you can relate, but I feel like I'm still far off the target of the man that I want to be, right? So exactly, bro, every day you can reach new heights. And so the more I chase that, the more I figure out, oh, I got to work on this, I got to work on that. It's never enough, right? So every day when I wake up, the first thing I tell myself is, Lord, thank you for another 24 hours. Like, you've given me another 24 hours. Like, you didn't have to. But when I say that, you know, that holds a lot of weight for me because he didn't have to wake me up. There were times in my life where I was doing cocaine for 7, 8, 9 days straight. I don't know how I survived that. I don't know how anybody would survive off that, right? There were times where I would drink alcohol and I was lying there on my back, turning purple because I was choking on the alcohol. How did I survive that? I don't know that, right? But here I am today, able to speak about those things to inspire people. All right, we need some movement. There we go. Can we move real quick? Hold on. Let me see.
The dark vibe is our vibe and our vibe.
All right, cool.
The ghosts.
All right. But no, man, so back to flow state, and I think becoming the best version of ourselves is the best thing that we can do for people, right? Because even though we're living to chase that version of ourselves, that's inspiring at least one person every day. And we should be grateful to be in a position, even if we just change one person's life a day, we should be super grateful that we can do it for dozens of people, especially you guys at your capacity of where you're at. You guys are at a place where you guys are inspiring thousands of people right now. Like, how does that make you guys feel, knowing that you are really making an impact, not only in your community, but in the world?
It's great, but if they don't fucking do shit with it, it's pointless, right? I've been getting these DMs from people, you know, here and there, right, over the past few years. It's like, oh, bro, you know, you inspire me to do it. It's like, cool, bro, I'm inspiring you, but are you putting what I'm telling you into action, right? And but sometimes I'll have guys messaging me and stuff, and then maybe 6 months later, they're like, oh, dude, thanks, bro, I've been sober, I lost all this weight, so on and so forth. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, like that's fulfilling, right? You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, the biggest thing is like self-doubt, right? Like, I feel like that's the main reason why people don't change their life when they're so far gone, right? Like, they think, like, even me, when I was in my addiction, I'm like, dude, how the fuck, I'm not gonna make it out of this, bro. How am I gonna bounce back? What? Like, maybe get a regular job, right? You know what I mean? It's like, but that's like how we think when we're in this, you know, at our bottom, right? It's like super hard, but I think that, you know, self-doubt is the biggest killer of all dreams, right? You know what I mean? Because on a daily basis, I talk to people that's like, dude, do you really think I could do it? Do you really think I could do it? You know, and it's like, next thing you know, they're gonna go ask their girl. The next thing you know, they're gonna go ask their buddies, right? And guess what they're gonna do, bro? They're gonna reflect their own negative self-doubt onto them, and these people are never gonna fucking start, right? And so they'll tell you, you know, it's about the money, it's about this, and it's not. It's the self-doubt, you know what I mean? And but you know, being able to inspire others is great, you know. But it's just, to me, it's just another fucking video, unless they're like, oh, dude, I did this, right? I did this. I took what you said. I took what you were teaching, and I actually changed my life with it, right? Then it's like, okay, that's the reason why I do this, right? But so many people just like the fucking idea of change, right? They like the idea of building the business, right? Yeah. Because when it comes down to it, like, they don't ever do anything with it, right? So it's like they don't want it, right? Because it's like, me personally, like, and Mike as well, right? We teach people exactly everything, right? Whether it's, fitness, training, if it's, mindset development, if it's building the business, every step of the way. Like, there's no fucking questions. Like, you have 0 questions. Like, super hands-on. Like, there's a lot of online coaches out there and a lot of online business coaches, but they don't put as much time as we do into our clients. We spend hours a week, like hands-on. I'm a hands-on learner, so I teach hands-on, right? And it's like, even then, you'll have guys that are just like, go ghost. You know what I mean? And it's like, why? What is the reason? Like, they don't want it. They don't want it. Like, they like the idea of something,
They like the idea, but when they see how much work you got to put into it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like even here, I get a lot of people where they'll be asking me, well, how do I do this? How do I lose 20 pounds? I want to change my life. I'm in here because I want to get in the gym and I want to get right. And I'm like, okay, cool, right? And then I start breaking down some of the basics, right? You got to lock in your nutrition. Nutrition is 90% of it. If you can't do that, but guess what? I give them solutions. We got meal prep. There's this, there's that, right? But one thing that I find most common where they shut down is once I mention you got to cut out the alcohol. You see it in their eyes, it just shuts off. Like, oh, alcohol? No. And then they'll go into but I don't have a problem. I can stop at any point that I want, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, then cut it out for 30 days. Oh, but no, I'm gonna have a drink, just a drink on the weekends. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you're addicted. If you can't give up something to sacrifice that to become a better version of you, then don't come in here and tell me you really want it, because that's bullshit, right? If you're not willing to do what it takes, and I think we're all, I think we can agree to this. There's some people that will cut it out cold turkey, but for your average person, it's just a temporary sacrifice, right? Cut it out until you hit your goals. Then at that point, if you decide that you want to socially drink, by all means go ahead, but temporarily sacrifice that. But then that light shuts off and they're like, nope, okay, I'm good. And then they walk out. I'm like, okay, they're not gonna.
I tell all my guys, because that's one of the main things when I'm doing my intake with new clients, new team members. Like, well, can I do this? Can I do cheat meals, or can I do alcohol? I'm like, I don't tell them, you're a grown man, but I tell them the same thing you told me. Like, you got this goal, you want to get a 6-pack, or you got this goal, you want to lose 30 pounds. You got this goal, you want to be the example for your kids, right? So whatever's not aligned with that goal, put that shit aside for 90 days, 6 months, whatever you do, right? Just fully commit and see what happens. Most of the guys they don't go back to drinking like me. That's what I did.
Because it's not worth throwing away for all that work that you put in.
Mm-hmm. The people that come in here and they ask you for advice is the main reason why you should have a coaching program, right? You want to know the number one reason why is because you could give every single person in the world all this free advice and a free roadmap, but if they do not pay you, they will not do it.
Because there's no investment.
They will not do it. I've given 26-year-old kid with like 4 kids living in the ghetto, just had kidney replacement and all kinds of shit that was gonna die, free program. I've given other people free programs, and this was like 2 years ago, and I'll never do it again because I don't do shit with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't. If there is no investment, they're not gonna do it, bro. Yeah. That's why I give everything away for free, because nobody's gonna do it.
Yeah. Facts.
Right? They when it comes to the business side of things, yes, they probably don't know exactly what they need to do. But when it comes to losing fucking 10, 20 pounds, they know what to do, right? They don't have an information problem, they have an application problem, right? They need the accountability, they need the guidance, they need the structure. Do men operate better under structure?
Absolutely.
There's the answer, right? Like, everything is all over the place. They'll go to their job at the same time, they'll eat at the same time, they'll come home at the same time. They'll drink a fucking beer at the same time. But guess when it comes to their personal development, guess what? They're not even going to show up.
Nope.
Right? It's like,
Back to investment, it's like people, it's a trip on some of these guys, right? They'll invest in everything and, drop hundreds on the bar tab, all at these fancy
Thousands.
restaurants, be in the dopest gear. But when it comes to, investing in their personal development, that's where they draw the line. It's like, where's the logic in that?
And you know what gets me the most is the guys that they'll spend hundreds, thousands of dollars on their favorite football team, on their favorite baseball team, right? Hundreds of thousands of dollars on all that shit, right? They'll wear another man's last name on their back thinking they play the game, but they're sitting there thinking they know the game better than these dudes, talking shit every Sunday watching these games like they're the coach when they're 50 pounds overweight, drinking their weekends away, right? But yet they're the pros. Make it make sense. You know what I'm saying?
It's because they'd rather invest into their personal destruction than their personal development, right? Like, if I get on a call with somebody and, I'm telling them, all right, cool, this is going to be like $2,500 or whatever it is, right? And they're like, oh, well, I'm like, bro, let me ask you this, right? Like, how much do you think you've invested into getting yourself where you're at over the past 10 years? 100 grand, couple hundred grand, maybe more, right? So, are you telling me that $2,500 isn't worth changing your whole entire life? Right? Like, make them see what they're saying here, right? It's crazy, bro.
But again, people won't change until they want to change. So when we keep doing what we're doing, and when they hit that rock bottom, or something happens in their marriage, or something happens in life, their kid just goes down the wrong path, or they wake up one day and look in the mirror and they've just had enough, guess what they're going to do? They're going to remember the content that we pushed out, those seeds that you guys have planted, that we've planted, and they'll reach out once they hit that rock bottom. And it's unfortunate. Hopefully it ain't too late. And, it's unfortunate because I'm just as guilty as this, but when it was time for me to change, I didn't change until I hit my rock bottom. You know what I'm saying? Until I had absolutely nothing. So at my worst rock bottom, I was living in one of the cheapest, dirtiest, worst hotels in Colorado, like the Crackhead Hotel. I was so poor, I couldn't even afford a $25 room. I was sleeping in the hallway with a box of clothes. It took me to get to that point to realize that this shit ain't working out. You know what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate that we are that way, but at the end of the day, this is why we have to keep pushing that content, because one day those guys will hopefully say, hey, bro, I'm ready. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I want to circle back. You asked, how does it feel to be inspiring people on this platform, using social media as a tool, using the coaching. It's, like for me, it's what keeps me, the reason I've been able to evolve, not just physically and even spiritually, and just keep on evolving in the coaching game, is because having these guys and changing these lives, one, it's super rewarding, right? But it keeps me accountable on a whole nother level. You know what I mean? But it's just, it's an amazing feeling, like being able to, like the fitness part, I always talk about it on my content. Like I love, transformations are cool. I got hella transformations, like guys losing 60 pounds in 6 months, 30 pounds in 90 days, getting abs they never had. I love all those transformations, but I have these conversations with some of these dudes, and they're like, hey man, I haven't touched the alcohol because I'm so locked in, right? Hey, I got my boy over there. Hey, my marriage, my family's staying intact. My marriage is doing better, because I'm developing these better habits, and it's starting to spill over into my home. You know what I mean? I'm changing the dynamic of my household. Instead of passing down these bad habits, hey, I'm doing push-ups every day, and I got my kids jumping on my back like, Dad, let's do push-ups. That's the part that is most. You got it? Pull it up and then. Too big, bro. You broke it.
I'll just sit like this.
But yeah, bro, that's like the most. Like the transformations are dope. There's no denying it. But being able to really, really help these guys change their lives. The stuff we don't see behind the social media, right? The conversations I have with them behind closed doors. and that's the part that's most rewarding, and I love it, bro. It's a really really good feeling, and it's like we were talking about earlier. It's like you got you got the pastors and you got the churches and the ministries who are helping really save lives, eternally, right? But while we're here on earth, we still need people to kind of open that door for them. And when people get right physically and with their fitness, like we said, right? Guess where they're going next? Now they're trying to go to church, right? It's like, so it's, in a way, it's the Lord's work as well. So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah, it really is, man. And I appreciate you guys, coming out here, sharing your story with us, but also taking the time out here for me personally. Again, we have our grand opening tomorrow.
It's gonna be lit.
Man, we're pumped, bro. My wife and I, we have poured everything, physically, financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, anything that you can think of into this. And this is years in the making, right? And it all started with a thought. It all started with the vision and a dream that God gave me. And if it weren't for my wife, when I first told her about this, I'll never forget it. We were sitting there and I was sharing with her my business plan. I'll never forget it. She looked at me and she's like, well, why don't you do it? So I don't know. And she goes, yeah. And she goes like this. She reaches in, she's like, just do it. And I was like, all right, right? And that's all it took, bro, is for one person to believe in a dream that I was holding in, and I just spoke it to the right person. And from there, it's just been on the go. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. You guys also came out with Condemned Labs. You guys are sponsored athletes, which is awesome. So I'm looking forward to having you guys. So before we wrap it up, though, what's going on next weekend in Vegas?
July 25th, we're going to be in Las Vegas, and we're going to be at Strength Culture Gym at 10:30. We're going to have one of the biggest fitness meetups that there's ever been, man. Well over 350 people are going to be there. Me, Mike, we're all going to be there, and it's going to be, we got some sponsors: Bum Energy, Raw Nutrition, Condemned Labs, California Ice Protein, Owen Hansen's going to be out there, and a lot of other guys, man. But the main thing about this is the network, right? We're going to go there, we're going to train, we're going to shut the gym down, we're going to shoot content, but this is a place to expand your network, no matter what it is that you're trying to do. So if you guys are, looking to get into the fitness industry, if you guys are already far along, if you're online coaches, if you're business owners, and just trying to grow, man, this is something that you're not going to want to miss. We're not charging for this event. There will be like a $20 fucking day pass, but just handle it, bro. We got probably 250 people are traveling across state lines. So what makes you any different, right? We want to see you there. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring the kids. It's gonna be one that's going down in the books. So
Right on. Mike, anything else you want to leave us with?
Yeah, just for next week, man. I know a lot of you guys out there are watching from the sidelines, watching on how we're moving and what we're building. You guys got to be willing to, walk through those doors and embrace those opportunities, man, because ain't nothing going to just fall into your lap. You know what I mean? You could want it, you could think about it, you can have this dream, but a dream without work ain't going to be nothing, right? You got to be able to walk through those doors. You go step into those rooms, shake that hand, and you could have that one conversation or meet that one person that could just change the whole trajectory of where you're trying to be and head in this life, man. So pull up to these events, pull up into these rooms, and yeah, man, hope to see you there next week, July 25th, Strength Culture Gym.
Yeah, thank you guys. So again, you can follow Dane Carter. His Instagram is at Dane Carter Fit. Mike, I believe yours is at grind.time, right?
Grind.time fit. Yeah.
Grind.time fit. Thank you guys again, and I'm gonna leave it with this, right? So God can do it all if he wanted to. Every dream, everything that he's put in our heart, he can easily do it all. But he doesn't want to. He wants you to put in that work too. So let's get it.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Cool.
bro.
Hey, bro, thank you. Yeah. Fucking breaking my couch and shit.
Good shit, bro.
Nah, bro, it's all good.